it's going to be really, okay, yeah.
You have to say got
You
it.
can start it. That's good. All right. So, you know, I think this is really going to be helpful for everybody. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go through a quick overview of the program. Some of you know me, some of you don't, so it'll be a little introduction to me and the background. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to actually check in. So we're going to go to the cruise check-in, so you'll see exactly the whole process, how you do it, how you upload your vaccine cards, how you do everything. And this is recorded, so we'll be able to, if you want to go back and look at it, you know, you'll be able to do that as well. But I think it'll be really easier if you see how the whole process goes first before you do it yourself. So I think that'll be really good. So what we're going to do is go through all of that. I'm going to ask you to hold your questions to the end, because if we start feeling questions, it's going to get a little bit discombobulated. So hold your questions to the end, and we may end up answering them before it anyway. So I think that's it. Does anybody have a quick question before we kind of get into all of this?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Perhaps we should all mute ourselves.
Oh,
until
we
it's over.
will do that, Carol. We will do that.
Okay.
But right now, I'm just asking if there's anybody who's got,
Sure.
you know, a question or something, but just before we get started. So I am going to, let's, Linda, would you mute everybody?
All right.
Okay, so we're going to,
Done.
You muted Sandy too.
I know, I'm trying to find it on mute.
myself.
There we
Okay.
go.
Is everybody else muted? Great. Okay, so sorry, I'll start again. So I'm going to introduce a few people first. First of all is Linda, our client care manager. And all of you have been very closely involved with Linda. She's been amazing and wonderful in making sure everything's really great. And then the other person I'm going to introduce is Hunter Peebles. Am I pronouncing your last name right, Hunter? Okay.
Yep, got it right.
Okay, and Hunter is with AMA Waterways, and AMA Waterways has a special department for charter. So he is like our go-to guy about the charter. So he has within, and if any of you have sailed with AMA before, it's a little bit different when the way we're doing things, because charters are slightly different than when you're just, you know, one cabin at a time coming on the ship. So Hunter is our guy, and we're gonna go through everything, and he'll have all the answers for everything about AMA. So, and is Liz here, Linda?
I haven't seen her, no.
Okay. There's two other people I want to introduce. One is Beverly Hurley, and there she is. Beverly's waving. I don't know where she is on your screen, but Beverly is Triangle Gardener. So those of you who have come through to us through Triangle Gardener, that's Beverly if you haven't met her in person. So that's really exciting. And then the other person is Jeff Harris. And I saw him here somewhere. I thought I was in and out. Jeff is the president of the San Francisco Orchid Society. So we have some folks from the San Francisco Orchid Society traveling with us. And then I was hoping Liz was going to be on the call tonight, because I know that Elizabeth and Sarah from Heskel Catering have a bunch of wonderful people. We have a big Southern contingency. I mean, I just love it, all these wonderful Southern accents. So I think there's more Southerners than anything else on this trip, which I just love. So anyway, that's a little bit about who's here, and you can flip through and maybe catch some of those names. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm going to go through a little presentation, just an overall, you know, what we're going to do, what we're going to see, and then we'll get into registering for the cruise. So. Let's see.
No, you muted it.
Okay, so can you see my screen? Linda, can you unmute yourself and tell me whether you can
Yeah,
see?
I
Okay.
can see your screen.
Okay, so here we are, some lovely pictures of there. That's why isn't this? Okay, so this is me. So those of you who don't know me, I'll give you a little bit. Here's a little bit of, my background and my credentials.
Unmute when you do that.
But see, you mute her now.
Am I muted? No,
No,
I'm
you're
not.
fine,
muted.
Sandy.
What?
You're fine, Sandy. We
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you.
All right. So I've been on the Condé Nast Top Travel Specialist list for 2 years in a row, 2021 and 2022. I've gotten awards locally. I've been top in my host agency. So we're a virtuoso agency. So you're in good hands. I'm also a member of the American Society of Travel Agents. So you're in good hands with us.
Once in every 10 years, the world unites to taste, smell, feel, and enjoy the power of green together. That's when International Horticultural Exhibition opens its doors. Once in every 10 years, we experience how green makes us healthier, happier, more energetic. How wonderful it makes our towns and cities. That green is the future. Once in every
Andy,
10
your
years,
share screen is very
chance to
small.
experience it. Floriade Expo 2022.
All right, that's pretty exciting. I mean, it opened in April, it goes through September, but we have picked the ideal time for everything to be in the best bloom. So this is a little overall picture of what the area looks like. It's 150 acres. There is going to be the cable cars that will go from the north-south to the north-south park. So you can go from one end to the other on the cable cars. We're going to see amazing flowers, and there's a arboretum that's 170 meters long. So it's going to be pretty amazing. This over here is on the left-hand side, that's a museum in front of a little lake.
Sandy,
Yeah,
you have your notes screen here, so we can't see the full screen, the big picture.
you're not seeing the full screen?
No, you have,
Oh.
it shows your notes screen beside the regular screen.
Okay, then I'm going to stop the share because you're not seeing the right one. Okay, so let me get to this one. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that, because can you see the full screen now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, all right, thank you. So on the left-hand side, that's the museum in front of this little lake. On the right-hand side, that's just one of the buildings, but you can kind of see how they're bringing nature into it. So that's the urban district. And so that's another picture of the urban district that we'll get to see. And this is kind of, that's the cable car being built. So that was a little bit before, but that's all obviously open and stuff. So you're going to arrive, some of you are arriving earlier, but a day that things are arriving will be on May 29th. We will have a kind of little gathering meeting, either 6 or 7 p.m. We haven't finalized that yet, but just to give you a ballpark idea, at the hotel, just to talk about, what to expect for the next day. If you have any questions, any issues we need to kind of straighten out before we get going. So that will be at the hotel, and we'll have that information. When you arrive at the hotel, no matter what time of the day you will be there will be an AMA Waterways desk with the cruise manager. So that person will be there. Then if you have any questions about anything, if there's an issue with your room or something, somebody will be there to handle all that. So the minute you get to the hotel, you are now in good hands for the rest of the whole time. So there will be someone there, and we'll have all any last minute details or stuff. The next day we'll start, and you are going to be getting a booklet with everything that you could possibly and more than you want to know about the itinerary. It's being done right now because we're kind of piggybacking on it with another group. We're going to be probably 80% of the ship, and there may be 10 or 15 cabins that aren't part of our group. So our itinerary is different because we have these 2 days at Floriade, we have the International Flower Auction, we have the 4 private gardens. Nobody else on the ship is doing that. So we have a custom itinerary. So right now, the ops people at AMA Waterways are making those customizations, and I expect to have them next week. So once I have that, we'll be sending out your full booklet with everything, and you'll have your reservation number, so you'll be able to check in and all of that. So you'll be getting all of that sometime next week. So this doesn't have the exact times, but it'll tell you what time to meet the bus, what time we're going here. Everything will be down to what you need to know. So just remember, we'll have that all for you probably next week. But just as an overall thing, so day 1 will be at Floriade. You'll have breakfast at the hotel. There'll be the time to meet at the bus. We'll go on the bus, we'll go to Floriade. There'll be a little bit of a tour. Then you'll be able to wander on your own and have a great time. There'll be another time to meet back for the bus, come back to the hotel. Dinner is on your own. The next morning, you have an option to get up really early. I think it's going to be around 6:30 in the morning. We're going to leave to go to the International Floral Auction. I recommend this highly. I mean, I can't wait to go back. It's an amazing thing. It's one of the largest buildings on earth. And since it's only 1 or 2 stories, I mean, you can have, a high rise in Chicago with 100 floors, but the footprint of the building's not that big because the square footage is going up. This is a building that's only 1 or 2 stories. And to be one of the largest buildings in the world, square footage wise, it's amazing. To me, it's like 1 million football fields. And you just see the brokers there and everything. It's a fabulous experience. So for those of you that want to do that and get up early, which I really highly recommend, do that. We'll go there, come back, have breakfast at the hotel, check out, go to Floriade, spend another full day at Floriade. And then when we leave Floriade, we go to the ship. And then you'll be able to check into your cabin, and we'll have dinner on the ship, and the sailing part will begin. So the next day, which is day 4, we'll have cruise through the canals of Amsterdam, and then we're going on to Utrecht. Now, please excuse my Dutch. I'm not a Dutch speaker, so if I pronounce things and you speak Dutch, my apologies up front. And we're going to go to the Custom Palais Het Loo Gardens. This is where the Orange family, the kings and queens of the Netherlands, lived in one of their summer homes and their gardens, and it's just amazing, beautiful gardens. So that's going to be the afternoon on the first day of sailing, which is day 4 of our itinerary. Then day 5, we'll cruise the Delta, and the afternoon, there's some charming fishing villages and things that you can do. And again, when you check in, there'll be a list of all the excursions. And when you get your documents and your guest booklet, it will have all this in much more detail. But this is just a quick overview. Then the next day, we get to go to Bruges. And again, if you haven't been to Bruges, it's one of my favorite cities. It's the Venice of Belgium. It's just totally charming. The center of the town has no vehicular traffic. So it's just people, and it's beautiful canals. It's really a wonderful thing. And then there's the Church of Our Lady, and you have the Carrara marble, the Madonna and Child, which was sculptured by Michelangelo, and it's just a stunning piece of sculpture to look at. Then we go on to Brussels. In the morning, we have a private garden. We go to Rosentheim Coloma. It is, I think, the largest rose garden in the world, over 3,000 varieties of roses. So it's pretty spectacular. And then in the afternoon, You can do a chocolate tasting, the bike tours. There are bikes on the ship. There are organized bike tours, or you can also take a bike and just go off on your own if that's something that you want to do. You just got to make sure that you're back to the ship before it leaves. Most of the time the ship sails at night, but sometimes we might be leaving in an afternoon. The next day we have another custom garden that only we will be going to. That's the Arboretum West Pilar. They're really, I love in their description, they talk about wooden plants. Basically, a lot of their focus is on trees, and they're doing a lot of research about how to save trees around the world and what that means to us as a society and as a global community. So it's going to be a very interesting, look at different kinds of plants. And then the afternoon, beer tasting, waffles, chocolates. I mean, Belgian chocolates, how better can that get? And then we're on to Dordrecht, and we're going to see the Botanical Garden in Leiden. It's one of the oldest botanical gardens. It was started in the 1500s. There's a big Japanese influence. The Japanese and the Dutch go back a really long time. If you think about some of the Van Gogh wood blocks from Japan. So that relationship goes back a long, long way. There's 4 different gardens. There's a fern garden because in the 1800s, ferns were very popular, especially in England as a plant to have. There's a medicinal herbs. That was one of the first things about this garden. And then there's a very modern garden. So there's basically 4 sections to this botanical garden. So it'll be very interesting. And then in the afternoon, this is one of my favorite things, the Kinderjig windmills. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's basically a living museum. These windmills, as you see in the picture, are out there, and that's how they were. I mean, this was how the Netherlands pumped out water. So because most of the country is below sea level, and how they ground grain and did all kinds of things. So you actually get to walk through that. There is actually a demonstration. People are dressed up how they lived in those times and show you how the windmill goes. You can take a bike trip here. Now, I'm not a bicyclist, and I probably hadn't been on a bicycle for decades. And I did it. It's flat. There's no cars. There's no traffic. You're in this private thing. So if you haven't been on a bike in a long time and you think you want to try it, this is the perfect place to do it. And it's kind of a nice way to walk around and see all the windmills and everything. So that's pretty wonderful way to end our trip in the Netherlands. And then our last day, we're back to Amsterdam. And we'll say goodbye, and we'll have wonderful memories, and we'll have new friends, and we'll have learned a lot. And everyone will have a safe travel going home. So this is a quick little picture of the ship. In the upper left-hand corner, some of you may have what we call a twin balcony. And so you can kind of see the champagne bucket and the chair are outside. But then if you look at the picture in the middle, there's 2 chairs. That's the enclosed balcony. So if you look at the center picture on the top, the 2 chairs are in the enclosed balcony. It's glass on the 3 sides. And then next to it, through the curtain, you'll see 2 chairs. Those are outside. So you have an outside and inside balcony. The one to the far right on the upper level, that is for the people who have French balconies. So you have floor to ceiling windows. So beautiful view, they open, they close, but you can't step out. A French balcony is 6 inches beyond the ship. So, but you can open it up, you can lean out, you can get fresh air, it's beautiful. The bottom left corner, that's the window cabins. So your windows are up. That's about where the water line is. So, but you have all the air and the brightness, and the ship has a beautiful lounge, 270-degree view. So you have that, the top of the ship. If you look at the far right-hand lower corner, the whole top of the ship is out and beautiful, and will be in beautiful weather. There is a pool, there's a hot tub, there's a bar, there's all kinds of, I don't know if some of the ships have like those big chess pieces that you can play with. You can run around if you're a jogger and you want to run around the top of the ship in the morning to get your exercise, that's available. The center lower right, that's kind of that where you come in, that's the kind of the front desk of the ship. That's where, if you have any questions, you have any issues, you need to pay for anything, you want to order anything, whatever, that's there. You're really like in a hotel. And this is just, you can find me everywhere. This is my favorite saying, using a travel advisor is like a great bottle of wine. You never know all the love and attention that went into creating the trip, but you'll certainly taste it. And I hope that you'll realize all the love and attention Linda and I put into this, and that you will have come away with wonderful memories and new friends and a great trip. So, okay, so before we go into checking in, does anybody have any questions about anything that you just saw or heard right now?
Well, yes, I do.
Hi, Terry.
Yeah. Well, will there be a cat in my room?
Cat in your room? I don't know if Linda's gonna lend one of her cats.
She does like to be the star of the show, so I apologize for the distraction, but
Yeah, I was thrilled. Okay, if I can have a cat.
All right, we'll see what we can do. All right, any other
Yeah.
questions about the itinerary or the ship?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sandy,
yes,
can you email us that very nice little summary of the itinerary?
yeah, I mean, it's actually the same, pretty much the same as, I mean, I can send you the PowerPoint, it's a big thing, but if you go to my website and you go to the Floriade tab, the WeMakeTravelEasy.com, and you go to the Floriade tab, you have all that.
Thanks.
So you can, that's a lot easier than otherwise clogging up your computer with the whole thing. And hopefully next week, fingers crossed, Hunter, that we'll have our custom documents and you'll have everything on there. So that'll be good. Okay, so
just a quick word on those documents too. It also has the times on the itinerary. So it'll tell you what time you're getting up, what time you're heading out, what time you're coming back. It'll tell you the difficulty of all of the tours there, if it's going to be uphill, if it's going to be some steepness and what have you. So you'll be able to kind of plan it all out and have it all just bullet point listed down for you.
great. Great.
What's the COVID testing thing now? Are you going over that?
Yeah,
Like,
we'll go, let's hold that, let's hold that. We'll definitely do that. Okay, so if no more questions about that, what I'm going to do is share my screen again, and I'm going to check in. So you'll be able to see the whole process, how to do everything. So when next week, when you get your reservation number and you're ready to check in, you'll have a sense of what this looks like, and it should go pretty smoothly. So let me share the screen again. Where am I here? I think I have to go back and close. Sorry, I'm gonna have to close this other thing first. So hang on one second.
Yeah. Sandy, where are you?
Yeah. Where am I?
Yeah.
You mean my background?
Well, yeah, the background.
That's Floriade. That's a drawing of what the urban district is going, which is now in existence, is going to look like. So that's a little preview before we had anything that was, with photographs. That was it. So that's there. Okay, so
How
here
far
we
is that
are.
from Amsterdam? How far
Sorry?
is that? How far is that from Amsterdam?
Do you know exactly? To me, I think it's something like the distance, like maybe going to San Mateo from San Francisco. It's just outside. It's a town outside. I don't know exactly what the.
I don't remember the exact distance off the top of my head either, but
Yeah, but
it's pretty close. It's going to be a quick. Everything in Amsterdam's really close.
Yeah.
So
Right. Okay, so everybody, Hunter or Linda, can you just give me some feedback? Can you see the Alma Waterways check-in site?
yep, sure can.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody, you see this little button here, cruise check-in? That's what you're going to want to click on.
Okay.
And then you're going to see your cruise check-in. You're going to have to put your booking number in. You do not have your booking number yet. You'll get that next week, but I have mine. And you put your last name in. And click the little search. Voila, here I am. Okay, they want to make sure it's me, so I have to put my birth date in.
Oh,
Oh, now we know what year.
I know. Let's-
She'll be
Yeah.
celebrating her birthday while she's there.
yeah.
I
yeah.
know. That's why she did this, so she can have.
Right, exactly. All right, so you get to read all this information. And your cruise check-in, one of the things that you can do is that here, your vaccine requirements. So you can click here and this will come up. So it'll talk about everything that you want to know or something. One of if you come to this, well, I'm kind of sidelined, but you can always come to this travel entry requirements. If you click on this tab and you go down, and you can, there's another button that says view requirements by country. And then you just find the Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands entry airport Amsterdam. I mean, Alma has done a fabulous job. You click on arrival requirements, drops down, it tells you everything you need to do. So you are not, if you are vaccinated and boosted, which everybody will be, is, for this trip, you do not need to be, you're not required. There's none of that. So there is a public health declaration that you're going to have, and your airline will probably send that to you, usually about 5 days before you leave. The airlines are the gatekeepers. They're not going to put you on the plane if they don't think that you can get off the plane and stay in that country. So they're the gatekeepers, and they have to adhere to whatever government they're flying to. It's not the airline's rules and regulations. It's the government that you're going to be landing in. So whatever they tell you to do, that's what your entry requirements are going to be. But this is pretty much what's there. We know things are changing. They've been getting a lot easier. Like right now, you don't need any testing to go to the Netherlands. Insurance coverage. If you bought the group policy through us, you have this. What it does is basically it says COVID is an illness. If you get COVID before the trip and you have to cancel, you're covered. If you get COVID on the trip and you have to stay extra, there's coverage for that. So that's what they mean when they say COVID-19 insurance coverage. So if you bought the policy from us, the group policy, you have that. This is the mask and social distancing. This is what the Netherlands is requiring. When they don't want cloth masks. In Europe, they have a mask that's called FFP mask. It's almost identical to our N95s. I think that you're fine. I'm bringing N95s. I think it's going to be fine. If something comes up, I'm sure we could stop at a store somewhere and buy a FFP, but it's really the same as an N95.
And
So,
95s are totally okay. So it's basically the same thing. And we will have all the masks available on board the ship. I believe like the surgical masks are fine for around, like the little blue surgical masks. Those are fine for on board the ship walking around. You can get a pack of 5 of those for €1, or you can get one FFP or N95 mask for €1 per mask. And we'll have those available in the gift shop.
okay, but we'll need them in the hotel before. So,
Exactly. But just in case.
So if you have N95s, just stick a few in there and you'll be fine. So that's, so here's the sailing requirements, which is pretty much the same as the country, and then the departure. So what's happening is that right now, the United States is still requiring a rapid antigen test 24 hours before your departure. So if you are leaving the ship on June 7th and flying home, AMA will make arrangements for those people that want to be tested or need to be tested on the ship. If you're staying extra in Amsterdam, then you're going to have to make your own arrangements to be tested 24 hours before. I'm sure there's lots of places around. The hotel that you'll be staying at for your extra days will have all that available for you. So it's not, Europe, it's not like here. Europe has testing sites all over the place. And even in most airports, even little regional airports have testing sites. So it's really easy to get tested if you're staying extra. If you're leaving on June 7th, you can be tested through the ship. They'll make arrangements for that. There's a charge for it, but it's the rapid antigen tests are not very expensive. What else is here?
Actually, if I could just chime in on that one.
Yeah,
real
go ahead
quick.
anytime, Hunter, please.
So we will arrange for testing to be done brought to the ship. Absolute worst case scenario, if we can't get someone to come, we will take you to a testing facility, and that'll be at no cost to you. The test itself is about 15 to 25 euro per test, but you can charge that directly to your stateroom bill. So you'll be able to settle. We'll do the test the day before. You'll still be within that 24-hour time window to come home, and you can settle up your room bill that'll have your test on there.
Okay. So I hope, okay, so I hope that kind of gets everybody feeling comfortable about it. It sounds horrible and intimidating and complicated. I've been to Europe 3 times. I've been to France, Spain, France again, the UK, Egypt, and Israel. And I mean, it's annoying is all that it is. It's not impossible, and it's not, you know, terribly difficult. It's
So-
just annoying. So,
Sandy,
yeah.
Do you have to go to a facility to be tested? You can't just bring your tests?
Well,
Is
if
that what
some
I'm hearing?
people, right, now that's another option. There are tests. It's not the test that you buy at the drugstore. You have to order it online. There's a company called E-Med, but one of the problems is that you have to order 6 tests. They come in bunches of 6. So if you want, there's another site that I will let you have too. So if you want to do your own test, email me, because it's just a little more complicated. I'll explain it. But basically, it's the same test that you get at a drugstore, an Abbott test. But the difference is that when you order this, there's an app that you put on your phone. And then when you can't open the test kit, when you're ready to do it, you go to the app, they send you someplace else, you get a proctor. And then with your cell phone, you hold up the box with your face so they see that it's you. And then they tell you to open the box. They go through the whole thing, and it's 15 minutes for the result. So what happens is that when you get to that point, you do the swab, you do everything, you put it in the little liquid and everything. Then there's a timer. The proctor goes away, 15 minutes, the timer goes off. You call back another proctor, you show them the test, they look at your face, and then they issue a document in the phone app that says that you have a negative test, and that's what you show at the airport. So it's very convenient because you can do it in your room. You can do it anytime within the 24 hours. You don't have to go someplace or be on the ship. So if you want to do it that way, I've done that probably 5 or 6 times. It's a little complicated the first time but at any rate, it's very easy and very doable. And if anybody orders those tests and needs help doing it, I'll be on the ship and I'll be able to show you how to do it. And it's very easy. And it costs about $35 between the shipping and everything else to have the test, and then you have it just there. So
That's what we bought,
another
Sandy.
option.
That's what we bought.
That's what you bought, Carol, right? You have that, right? Okay, so if you're interested in the self-testing, email me after this and we'll talk, and I'll give you the information on that. Okay, so let's go back to check-in. So here we are, we're back in the travel entry requirements. We went through all that. Okay, now continue. Okay. This was your electronic documents, but remember these are not really your documents. They're going to be like the documents for everybody, for the other people on the ship. It is not customized yet. So by the time I send you your reservation numbers, I'll make sure these are up to date and they're the ones that you should be having. So that's kind of why I'm holding off sending you your cabin numbers, because I don't want to confuse you with not having the documents that are specific for you. Okay, so now we get down to checking in. Okay, so the first thing is cruise check-in. Okay, so they, you know, I think Hunter, it's populated for most people, right? Or is it for only for people who have traveled before?
Correct. So if you have a profile with us before, if you filled someone, most of the time it tries to auto-populate, but you'll have to fill most of this information out yourself.
Okay, so if this is your first on the river cruise, you get to have the pleasure of doing this yourself. Okay, so yes, I'm traveling with friends and people but I want to sit with all of you. I want to rotate all the time, so I'm not going to check that. But if you have, you know, friends that you're traveling with and you want to make sure you sit with them. Hunter, let me ask you, because before COVID, when you went to the dining room, you could sit anywhere.
Correct.
When I was on a ship in last November, they wanted you sitting at the same table all the time. And that was basically so that they could do contact tracing. If someone had gotten sick, then they know who they sat with and stuff. I don't know whether that's still, so what's the latest on how the dining room seating is going to be, Hunter?
It's still going to be the same with the assigned seating, but basically because our ships are kind of fluctuating in terms of capacity, we're kind of just playing it by ear. The official Alma Waterway statement is you will have assigned seating and that will be your seat for the duration of the cruise. But since you are such a large group and you're taking up most of the ship, a lot of times what we've done is, you know, kind of block off a section of tables. Okay, you're going to be, you know, how many people we say it was 48. So you got 48 people, you're going to fill up these many tables. And as long as we know that you're staying within those tables, moving around, it's really going to be up to the cruise manager and the maitre d' when they get on board the ship. So I'm sure we could work something out, but I've let them know your preferences and they know you're a large group.
Yeah, I think that we'd like to be a big group, but we'd like to be able to switch around tables because people are going to meet people and want to have, you know, lunch or dinner or breakfast with different people. So if we can be within our group and move through tables, I think that'll be really great.
It's not unfortunately, I can't guarantee it, but
no,
please
I understand. I understand. It's only a request.
Exactly.
But when we get on board, we will have, you know, the cruise manager will be up to date. We will have when you're on the ship, if you've never been on a river cruise before, it's really a floating hotel. It's really a hotel where your room moves with you. And you have a hotel manager who will take care of everything that needs to go in your room. And then we have a maitre d', who's head of the restaurant. You're going to be eating in a fine dining restaurant 3 meals a day with wonderful waiter service, with beautiful choices of menu options, all kinds of, you're just eating in a nice restaurant every day. And Alma's won awards for its food and it has nice wines. And so it's going to be lovely. So the restaurant person, and when we get on the ship, they'll, you know, when you get to your cabin, you'll unpack a little bit and then there'll be a little orientation and they'll go through all the stuff that you need to know about the ship and what to do. And we'll talk about, and that's where we'll find out what our restrictions are with dining or not. So that's all to come. Okay, so if yours isn't populated, you're going to have to put all your information in. Okay, so I'm going to continue what's here. Okay, so traveling mode. Okay, I'm arriving by air. Okay, I guess mine didn't get populated in, huh? All right, well, so one of the things that you're going to need to do is, especially for those of you that are arriving so let me ask you this, if they're arriving and have paid for their transfer, will this populate or?
That's one of the few parts that our booking system and the actual check-in don't communicate. So you will still have to enter in your airline information, but the transfer will all be on your booking. So it's kind of a moot point.
Okay, so for those of you that are arriving on May 29th and departing on June 7th, and either if your transfer was included with your air from AMA, then that's set up. If you want to purchase a transfer, which I highly recommend because it's nice to come out of customs and see your name, somebody waiting for you, take your bags, take you to the ship for the price or less than you would pay for a cab from the airport. For those of you that are arriving earlier and and are staying at the Hyatt, so if you've booked a few extra nights at the Hyatt and you want an airport transfer, Linda and I can set that up for you. we're not doing it from the ship to the airport. You'll have to take a cab, but when we're checking off the ship, they will ask who needs cabs, who needs this, who needs that. If you don't have a transfer set up and you're going to a hotel for 2 nights or 3 nights after, and you just need a taxi to get you from the ship to the hotel, all that will be arranged for you. We don't need to do that now. That'll be done on board before we disembark. So this is a good point. When you're checking in, you're going to need to have your airline information. So make sure that you have that. So I'm going to just continue right now. I'll come back and do that at another time. Okay, and then your emergency contact information. I guess his email didn't get repopulated, but so you know who that is. Please don't put your traveling companion as your emergency contact information. They're there, they'll know if there's an emergency. What we're asking for is somebody who is at home. If they, if they need to get in touch with somebody as an emergency contact. So not the person you're traveling with.
And if I could make a quick one, if you look just above, back where you were at there, Sandy, it was also on the airline page. There's a little tick box up there that says, click this button if you want this to mirror the other person on your reservation. So if you're traveling, if you're traveling as a pair and you're both on the same flights and you both have the same contact information, you can literally just click that button and it'll automatically populate it for the next person on in your cabin with you.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right
Save
here. See?
Yep.
See where this thing is. So if you're, then, if you live with the person you're traveling with, that makes it okay. So we're going to go through this again. I guess, okay, cruise. What happened? Why isn't, I guess maybe it's traveling. Oh, I guess I got to go back through this. All right, but I'm going to go through here, continue. Okay, continue. Okay, so now we're going to get to, okay, so this is all done. Okay, so it's incomplete because I didn't have my air stuff and something else. Okay, now what we're going to do is let's skip excursions for now. And we're going to go down to the health questionnaire. This is where you're going to be uploading your vaccine cards. Okay, so here you all this information, and then they're going to want the front of your card that doesn't have drag and drop, right, Hunter?
That is a good question. I can't remember if it's got. No, I think you do have to choose the file. So you just have to pick the file path.
So if you have a file somewhere, get into where do I have this? I had it set up, but I guess it's not. Sorry, I thought that would have it. Okay, so it needs to be a PDF, right? Will it upload a PDF? Yes, I think it will.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Okay, so I chose it from my files. I guess that doesn't show on the screen, but so I'm uploading that. And then the back of my card, because my booster, my 4th booster is on the back of my card. Let's see.
Even if your boosters aren't listed on the back of the card, we'll still need the back of the card photo regardless.
Okay. But what I've done, file is too large. Okay.
And Sandy, did I send you the little step-by-step instruction that we have? I do have something that's a file just for this. It kind of talks you through the.
Well, actually, because I've sailed before, I have all other kinds of things on there. And if you can see from this, I've got I've got the French, I've got the EU pass, which is really nice to have. And then I also have the California digital thing. So I uploaded everything. So I think there's way more. Alma knows that I'm good.
We'll find you if you're not. So that's
Yeah,
all
right.
good.
And so
I have a question.
yes,
I have a question for Hunter, please.
Mhm.
We have already registered for the Douro River cruise. And all that information is there. Is it possible to have it assigned to this cruise as well?
So basically, because anything can happen with the cruises and change, people's information can change constantly. We can't just have a move over kind of scenario. So you will have to fill out the information again, just because someone's could have gotten married, their last name could have changed, or something. Other the information can be different. So.
Oh, this is for a forthcoming cruise.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's just the way the system communicates itself. So
Yeah.
you will have to fill it out again. I'm sorry.
yeah, you might luck out, Carol. Maybe it's there. If not, you might just have to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will need access to an antigen or PCR test. So for those of you that are flying back to the United States, you will need a rapid antigen test. For those of you who are going on to another country on the 7th, remember this is people, you will need to know what the entry requirements are wherever you're going. Let's say you're going to the UK, or you're going to France, or you're going to who knows where. You'll need to know that, and whether if it's a PCR test and it's 2 or 3 days, maybe it just depends. So you'll have to know that. If you're going back to the US, you do need the rapid antigen test as of today, and you can say yes, I want that. I'm not, because I'm going to Portugal and I have an EU pass, so I don't need a test till anyway, so I don't need that. Do I have travel insurance? Yes, I do. I never travel without travel insurance. Okay, and then I acknowledge that I've been informed and that of all the things, and I understand that the captain is the boss, and if you have to wear a mask, you have to wear a mask on board. So submit there. Okay, so do we still going to have the health questionnaire 7 to 14 days before?
Correct. Yes. So what you just saw right there, she filled out the first portion of the health questionnaire for the vaccine card and basic information for testing. And then when we get closer to sailing, when we're within 2 weeks, which is coming up here pretty soon, you'll have to go back in and answer a few more questions that are time sensitive. Are you having symptoms? Have you cared for someone with COVID? All those fun things. So just because it says complete right now doesn't mean that it's finished. So when the new questions open back up in a few days, then you'll go back in again, and then you'll answer the questions. And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And we'll send you an email reminding you to do that. So as soon as I know it's open and ready to do the questions, we'll send you all an email and say, go into your cruise check-in and do that. Okay, so let's just take a look at the excursions. I guess it's not even.
Oh, so Sandy, real quick, we're 22 days out from the start of the sailing. So
okay.
It'll just be probably within the next week or so. It'll be open.
Okay, so that'll come in there. So just to give a little explanation, I'm gonna. Okay, before I log out about this, because I'll talk about the excursions afterwards. Is there anyone that has a question on anything that you just saw on this check-in?
Sandy.
I do, Sandy.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Stan.
Hi. Can we upload the California digital card instead of the CDC card?
Yes.
Okay.
Sandy, how do we get all this?
How do you get what?
How do you get to the check-in form?
Okay, we'll go back to see up on the top. Whenever you go to Alma Waterways, I'm gonna get out of this. Okay, you just go to almawaterways.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this little button, cruise check-in.
Yeah, that's all I needed.
Here you are.
So I go to almawaterways.com and then I look for
cruise check-in.
Cruise check-in.
We'll send you a little thing about it, but yeah, it's very easy. almawaterways.com, cruise check-in, and then your cruise check-in. As I said, you don't have your booking number yet. We're waiting till we know that the documents, I'll send them to you. You can start doing it, but I think our documents are going to be ready next week. If they are, it'll just be easier because then you'll be able to do the shore excursions and everything all at once.
Running around in front of the space.
And real quick though, is also for the shore excursions, I have a feeling the reason why it's not open right now is just because operations is working on your custom
Right,
excursions.
exactly.
So that means they haven't released it for every, you're not gonna be able to select your custom tours in the actual shore excursion. It's just gonna be the regular tours. But one thing to keep in mind is that these are not capacity controlled. So when you look at all the regular excursions that are there, you can pick whichever tour you want to do. You're not going to run out of space. And then if you change your mind on board the ship, you can say, hey, you know what? I don't feel like doing this one today. I'm going to go on to this one. And you can absolutely change your mind when you're on board. The only thing you will not be able to sign up for right now would be the bike tours. So the bike tours are the only ones that are capacity controlled because we only have so many bikes. So once you get on board the ship, you'll be able to sign a little waiver and you can sign up for your bike tours then.
Right. It's not like an ocean ship where you know, they're limited, and if you don't get it today, you're not going to be able to go. It's, you know, everybody can go on everything. So it's not a problem, except that only our group can go to our special gardens. Nobody else can do that.
It's not one of the.
And then one quick thing here with the check-in that we didn't get to see because Sandy's already kind of done a part of the check-in. When you first log in, it's going to ask for verification. So it's going to ask you to enter your email address. It's going to send you a test email with a verification code in there. And so you just put that in there and then you're good to go. And then it'll be just the way she showed it.
Okay. Any other questions about the check-in?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Hi, Paula.
Hi. No, this is about actually excursions. Do you have bike helmets?
Of course.
Okay. And so what you said that what we're getting will not include the group garden tours? Is that what you said?
So when you look at the actual shore excursion registration, it'll show, you know, day one, give you the list of all the tours. You won't see your specialty tours listed there. So that basically on those days that you know that you're going to be going on a special all day garden tour, you don't have to fill anything out for that day.
Okay. But how will we get information about departure times and the like?
That's the documents that are being prepared now,
Okay.
which we hope to have by next week, which will have all the details, exactly what time you're going to leave, what day everything is. But you know, because this is being customized, it's taking a little bit longer, but we should have it. I'm hoping by the end of next week. And then you'll have it. Just knocking on wood.
Yep. I am a bit of a blockhead, so you know.
So we're hoping we have it by
receive
then,
those by
but-
email?
I'm sorry.
Will we receive those by email?
Yes.
And
Yes,
then-
once they're available, okay, we'll have them and we'll send them to you. So I'm hoping by the end of this coming week, we should have them, but if not, then it'll be certainly before you leave.
So
then-
if we're, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Go ahead, Paula.
Should we, will we get a printed copy of this on the ship, or should we be just bringing
If you want, what you should, if you want a printed copy, then you should print out a copy of it. On the ship, what you will get is, excuse me, can we mute if you're not the person talking? On the ship, you will get, let's see, okay, I happen to have a sample here. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for right now. Okay, you will get, how do I do this? Okay. Well, can you kind of see it every day in your cabin? I don't know why that.
It's because of the background, but yeah.
Okay, there
go.
we are. Yay. Okay, you will get a sheet every day that will tell you what's going on, a little description, if there's anything special, whatever. So you will have that every single day in your cabin. So besides your detailed guest thing that you're going to get before, you're going to get a daily cruise planner that's going to talk about everything that's happening on the ship. So if there is any last minute changes or something happens, this little cruise planner should hopefully catch up on the more up-to-date kind of things.
Yeah, has all the meal times, and if you have some free time, it'll tell you what time to be back at the ship, et cetera, et cetera. And then for our more tech savvy folks here, we do have an app that's called the My Ama Cruise app, and the cruise manager will go over all of this when you get on board the ship. But one of my favorite features about it is that you can download a digital copy of your daily cruiser directly to your phone. And I keep my phone in airplane mode, so I don't have to worry about roaming and all that jazz, but I can still open the app and look at my daily cruiser every day. So when I was out and about on my sailing, I'm like, okay, we're going to go to this place, go to this place. We got to be back by 3 o'clock. And so I could actually just physically pull it up and look to see what was happening next. It was kind of nice just to have with me. Didn't have to fiddle with papers in my backpack and things like that.
Yeah, but our custom stuff is not going to be on that, right?
No, it won't be on that because the cruise
Right.
manager has to do that specifically, but your regular documents will have that. That'll also come in electronic form. It'll be a PDF, so you could save that to a phone or a tablet, and you'll be able to look at that wherever you go. Or as Sandy said, if you like, you can print it out and bring it with you. It is about a 40-something page document, so make sure you just pick the right pages you want to print. So,
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff in the beginning about the address of where the ship is and a bunch of other stuff. You just want to, if you want to print, you just want to print the itinerary part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, the cruise app. So just so I want to be clear, that's going to be the one that's just for the ship. It's not going to have the couple of days in Floriade, and also it's not going to have our custom stuff. So just so you know that, but it will have everything else. So it's still a nice thing to have. I mean, the ship is going to leave the same time for everybody, and the ship is going to arrive the same time for everybody. So, and one of the things that's nice about river cruising is, you know, one day you just kind of had it. You want to sleep in. You don't want to go to what's ever happening that morning. And it's a cute little town, and you feel like you just want to walk off the ship and go wander around the town. You can. I mean, you don't have to feel like you have to do everything that's happening. You know, it's all there for you. But if you just decided today's not my day, or I want to take a bicycle and ride through this little town, I want to sleep in, I want to stay on the ship, I'm reading this really great book and the jet lag's gotten to me and I just want to hang out today, it's all good. The only thing you have to do is when the ship is sailing, you got to be on the ship before it sails. That's the only really thing you have to do. Everything else is however you want it. This is your trip, your wonderful experience. We're offering you, you know, the best of the best, and you get to pick and choose. So, and like Hunter said, you know, when you sign up for these excursions, it's just giving Amma a rough idea about how many people might want to do this or that or whatever. But you can change the morning of. I mean, it's happened. You go down, you know, they'll say, okay, everybody on the blue bus going to X, Y, and Z, it's now time to come down and meet, you know, in front with a lobby where you saw that thing to get on the bus. And you're walking down the hall and you meet Sally Sue, and you had a really nice dinner with her last night. And she says, I'm going to see B, and you signed up for A. Well, now you want to go with Sally on B. No big deal. You go to the front desk, get your ticket to go on the B bus instead of the A bus. I mean, that's how fluid it is and how flexible it is. So you don't have to feel like, oh, I made this decision and now I changed my mind. Hunter, let me ask you this one thing that I just want to get clarification on. We have our 4 gardens. Let's say somebody decides they don't want to go to a garden that morning. Can they go in one of the other excursions for that day? That was a morning excursion?
yes, absolutely. So all of the regular tours are still open to you, even though you have your custom tours. If you're all flowered out and you want to go do something else, then you've got something else to choose from. So
right. So if you're the flower person and your traveling companion isn't, and they're being a good sport, but they don't want to go to 4 gardens, they only want to go to 2 or 1, they can do something else.
Yep.
Okay. Questions? No questions? We did such a good job.
Sorry, I have one more question.
Yes. Hi,
So
Rosie.
can we, I was
Well,
on a
not
cruise.
Rosie. I'm sorry. I
I
thought
was
it was
on a
Rosie.
cruise recently, and can I get your app off from the Apple Store? now?
yes, it's
Yeah.
yeah, you can download it now. I don't
Okay.
believe you'll be able to load the sailing on it until we get much
Right.
closer.
Okay.
Sandy,
Yes.
you had mentioned earlier about getting some kind of COVID insurance. Is it too late to get that?
The COVID, if you bought the travel insurance through us,
Yeah,
it has that.
good.
If you didn't buy travel insurance through us and you didn't buy any, depending on who you bought it in, almost every major travel insurance company has now said COVID is an illness. It's not, when COVID first in January of 2020, when it was declared a pandemic, every insurance company said, oh, in my insurance policy, we don't cover pandemics. And that's when everything got freaked out. But as time went on, the insurance companies and everybody else, everybody was in shock and had to get used to it. And they said, okay, COVID is now
He's
considered
doing a really good
an
job, I think.
illness. And so it's covered in the same way. So if you get COVID before the trip and you can't go, it's an illness, it's a covered reason for cancellation. If you're on the trip and you get sick and you have to go somewhere or do something or whatever, you see a doctor. I mean, hopefully, because all of us are vaccinated and most of us are boosted, if you get a breakout infection, it's not going to be a big deal. So, you'll see the doctor or you do whatever, you'll be confined to your cabin. Almost had almost no breakouts that I've heard of, but I don't know what's happened recently. But, so you'll have whatever. If you have to stay extra, because let's say you're taking your rapid antigen test 24 hours before you leave and oops, you tested positive. Now you can't get on the plane. You'll get off the ship, but you'll have to go to a hotel and you'll have to stay 5 days because that's the quarantine thing. And that's covered in your travel insurance. Now, some travel insurance policies do put a limit. They don't want you staying in a 5-star hotel at $2,000 a night for your room. They're going to put a reasonable amount for a hotel room that they may cover. So that'll be covered. And if you have to go see a doctor, you have to have a test, that'll be covered under trip interruption. And then you're going to have to change your flight back. So, all that gets covered under your trip interruption part of your policy.
And then real quick, for those who did book airfare with Alma Waterways, if the, knock on wood, doesn't happen, but if you did get the test positive and we have to rearrange your flights, we would go ahead and do that for you. So the cruise manager will let us know this person tested positive, they've got to stay for a couple of days extra. Our team will rebook the flights for you and get that all taken care of.
If we have booked through Alma Waterways and we're staying a couple of extra days and something happens with our flights, will you handle those as well?
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, so you'll be getting off the ship on the 7th and then you're staying a few extra days, but you still have our return flight coming back home, correct?
Yes.
Yes, we absolutely will. So when you book with us, that's the service, so we got you covered.
Okay, thanks.
So Sandy, if we book through you and we end up having to stay, are you or Linda going to help us refigure out?
Oh no, we're actually going to leave you stranded, Alice. Yes, of course.
Okay. Anybody else?
Now, just so you know, I'm leaving Amsterdam and then I'm flying to Porto because I've got another group, and actually Carol and Doug and Pam and Steve are coming with me. So we're going to Portugal from there, but Linda's not allowed to leave the office. She's going to be chained to the computer. So she will be there. Narmada will, for those of you who book your air with Narmada, Narmada will be around. So if anything happens, we'll be here. I understand that they have good Wi-Fi in Portugal, so I'll be available too. So don't worry, we'll all be here to catch you if you fall.
I have one more question, Sandy.
Yes.
Those of us who got those tests that have to be proctored, that sounds fairly complicated. Do you think you could have a group do it, or do we have to do it individually? In other words, supervised by you.
We could do it as a group. We could certainly find a thing, but Carol, I'm going to go over that a little bit more on Saturday when we talk about the Portugal stuff. So
Okay.
it's you've done a home test.
That's right, many times.
Right. So it's not that much. All you got to do is call into the proctor. It's really not that. It sounds much more complicated than it is.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to go over it on Saturday, so don't worry.
Basically just
And
doing the
Pam-
test in front of
and
someone on
Pam
the
and
phone.
Steve, because we're having a little orientation in San Francisco, which I didn't think you wanted to fly out for coffee and cookies. So actually, when we're together in Amsterdam, I'm gonna go over all the pre-Portugal stuff with you. I mean, so don't worry.
I have a question.
Yes,
What
sure.
about laundry on the ship? Can you talk to us?
Yes,
good
yes.
question.
The ship has great laundry service.
Oh,
There's not washers and dryers like on ocean ships. They have wonderful laundry service. You put your laundry in a bag, you leave it on your bed, they take it, and it's usually done the next day. It might be a little bit longer. They do a beautiful job. It's, laundry when you're having a laundry service is not inexpensive, but it's actually reasonably priced for what they do, and they really do a lovely job. And every one of you has a $50 onboard ship credit as a gift from me. And so you can use that onboard credit towards laundry. You can use it towards tips. The tipping on the ship, this is something we didn't talk about. Sometime during the cruise, you will get some information. It's not required, it's suggested. Then when you see the service you get on the trip, you're going to feel like, of course, I want to tip these people. And you can charge your tips to your room. So you don't have to worry about having cash to give to the, everybody on the ship or this and that. You can charge your tips to your room. And if you don't send out laundry and you don't find, like this lovely little necklace I bought on an Alma River cruise, they do have the gift shop is very well priced. I mean, when the last time I was in the Netherlands, somebody in my group had gone and bought some lovely little gifts in a little gift shop in the town, came back on the ship, they had the same things on the ship for less money. This I saw in Ashland, Oregon for way more money than I paid on the ship. So the gift shop on the ship is really well priced if you want to buy something. It's not a huge shop, and they also have sundries. If you forgot your toothpaste or your deodorant or whatever, they have all that kind of stuff there too. But if you don't spend anything in the gift shop and you don't, have a massage or there's not a lot you can, or you buy some, more premium after dinner drink, because all the wine and there's a cocktail party before dinner, all that's included. But if you want to have an after dinner drink, what I often do is when, dinner's over and you're going up to the lounge because they have lovely entertainment, or sit around and hang out with your friends, I have them fill my wine glass up and I take it upstairs to the lounge. But if you want a cognac or a scotch or, whatever you want different, then that is extra and that gets charged to your cabin. But if you didn't do any of that, you can apply the $50 towards the tips. Now, the one thing that you might want to do, which I do, is there's a couple of people on the ship who are going to go beyond for you. Sometimes your cabin person, they will do anything for you. Your waiters, the waiters are fabulous, and and they'll get you all kinds of special things and they're wonderful. So you may want to give a little extra to somebody on the ship. So, go to an ATM in one of the little places we are, get some euros, and they'll also take dollars. They're not proud. So you can give them some cash. What I usually do is on the night before, you go around and say thank you and, give them, whatever you want. They don't expect it. They don't ask for it. It's really from your heart. If you feel like that's what you want to do and acknowledge them, great. If not, tipping at the hotel, I understand portage is taken care of, right, Hunter?
Yes, when you transfer from the hotel to the ship, your luggage and whatnot is all taken care of.
Yeah, so when you check in, you don't have to tip the bellman, checking in and checking out, right, Hunter?
No, you don't have to. Obviously, if you want to, that's
Right,
up to you.
right, but they
yeah.
are getting tipped through AMA. So if you feel like you want to, that's fine. But they are. The tour guides, though, when you're going on the tour guides, a couple of euros here and there, 5 euros a person, 3 euros, but maybe the 1 or 2 for the bus driver is a nice thing to do. You don't have to, again, but if you want to, that's a nice thing to do. These people are working hard, and think about it. We're going to be on a ship with a capacity of maybe 50 or 60. It usually has 160. So, and for 2 years, these people weren't working. So, if you feel that you're comfortable with that, again, you don't have to, but if you feel that you'd like to, a couple of euros here and there.
What did you say, capacity at 150?
I'm sorry.
What about dollars? Sandy, if we just bring dollars with us, will that would
They'll
be
take
okay?
dollars. Yeah, they'll take dollars.
For the buses and the tour guides, though, I would recommend just stopping off at an ATM and grabbing a couple euros.
Yeah, it's so
just
easy to use the ATMs.
Euros
Yeah.
are
They're,
basically
they're
the same
everywhere
now.
too.
Right.
Yeah, it's really easy
Mary,
to
are
find.
you asking a question because your mute is on?
I was just wondering, what did you say on the
Well-
numbers? We're 50 to 60 people and it's usually how many?
The ship, the capacity is 162, I think.
The Alma Prima is a little smaller. I think she's like 148, 150 something, if I
Okay.
remember correctly.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
yeah, Sandy, yeah, I was just hoping, that there was gonna be, a cat in my room.
She's big baby. She loves to be big baby.
Okay.
Well, at least you can get a good look at her now. That's Miss Nix. Oh, there she is.
Is there a gym?
Those are evil eyes.
Okay, as long as there's, a chimney in my room, the cat could lay up next to
I'll send Sandy with a picture. But I did hear someone ask about the weight room. There is a weight room on board the ship, so that'll be open to you anytime.
Yeah,
All
there
right.
is it. Right. And like I said, you can do the deck on the top. You can, if you want to jog a little bit in the morning or take a bicycle out.
Okay.
We don't, will there be a wellness person on the board?
Yes, always. There will be a wellness host. So that's one thing we didn't touch on. So there will, on your daily cruiser, you'll also have a schedule of activities. So for your early risers, you want to go for a jog or do a stretching class, there's yoga and sometimes in the afternoons, but there will be something to do every day with the wellness host.
All right.
Are there
What
any,
what is the name of the ship we'll be on? I don't have that, I don't think.
It's the Alma Prima,
Yeah. What about
Alma.
RIMA, Carol.
Oh, thank
is
you.
there a music room or a piano, if you play piano, that you can play on?
I did see your message in the chat. There is a piano, but it is only for our musician on board. Unfortunately, it will not be open to the public.
Okay.
are
Thanks.
there any alternative dining?
Yes, there is one alternative restaurant. So basically everyone will have the opportunity to do this. It's called the Chef's Table. So as Sandy mentioned, all of our head chefs are certified and trained in the highest order. In fact, we are part of what's called the Chaîne de Rôtisseurs, which is the French Royal Order of Duck Roasters. And it's a very elite club of gastronomics and other chefs around the world. And they have invited us. So we will have a special Chaîne de Rôtisseurs dinner in the main restaurant once during the ship. I believe I think I told you that was like
We have it scheduled one, so we split the group up because it's a special room and the capacity isn't. So one group will be having the chef's table on June 2nd. And the other group will be having the chef's table on June 3rd. And then depending, because what Alma wants to do is make sure that everybody has at least one opportunity to have dinner in the chef's at the chef's table. Afterwards, if there's space and availability and you want to go back, you can ask and you can make a reservation. But just remember, the menu is going to be the same. It doesn't change every night. So whatever you had that night at that dinner, you're going to have the next time you go back. So if you really loved it and you want to eat it again and there's room, there's fine. In the main dining room, there's going to be always different entrees every night. It's always going to be something different. Now, Hunter, I have a question. Is there room service on the ship?
There's no room service on the ship,
Okay.
unfortunately. During COVID, we did for a little while there, but
Yeah,
that
that's
was when
what
it
I
was
didn't know if
getting
they were
really
still
bad.
doing
But
that or
yeah,
not,
no,
right.
unfortunately not.
Okay, but there is typically for early morning risers. So if you want to get up, there's usually coffee and muffins and little snacks
Right.
to have before your full service breakfast.
Exactly.
And then
Yep.
lunchtime, you can either eat in the dining room and have the full service thing, but sometimes they have like lighter snacks in the lounge for people who want, because let me tell you, we're going to be eating a whole lot. So you might want to go light on lunch. So, for dinner, but whatever you want. So there's usually that option. And then there's usually, if you're on the ship mid-afternoon, there's kind of like tea, I guess, or whatever, some little snacks in the late afternoon. So the one thing you're not going to be is hungry on this trip.
See, that's his wife.
Sandy, could you comment on what as far as clothing, is it
black tie or white tie?
No. It's what often sometimes called country
No.
club casual. During the day, jeans, I mean, and the most important thing is good walking shoes. For those of you that are, we're going to be walking more, not biking, or, if you're in the slow walkers, maybe good, comfortable walking shoes, good, comfortable clothing. I think the temperature is going to be kind of like San Francisco. It's not going to be really hard because we're very much north. Pack in layers because you never know. Wendy, who's coming on this trip, I sent her to Rome in December and she said, oh, it's going to be so cold. And they sent me pictures walking around in t-shirts. So with global warming, you never know what's going to happen. But so try and pack in layers, a sweater, a scarf, or this or that. So you can kind of do that in case it's a colder or warmer. It gets warm in the middle of the day because it's real, the sun's out and it's beautiful. And then the night it gets cold. So during the day, casual jeans, whatever you're comfortable in, that's great. Dinner, think about you're going to a nice restaurant. For men, they want you to have closed-toed shoes. They don't want you coming in with flip-flops, with khaki pants, or slacks, whatever, a collared shirt. So, I mean, that's it. Now, some men like to bring a jacket because they're just comfortable or they get cold with the air conditioning. No ties. And, you don't need a jacket. It's just up to you if that's what you like, if that's how you dress or whatever. So, but a shirt and slacks and closed-toed shoes for men. For women, you're going out to dinner in a nice restaurant, a nice top, slacks. If you like to wear a skirt, wear a skirt. The night that we have the chef's dinner and the very last night when you have the captain's dinner, some people like to get, I hate to say a little more dressy because we're not talking cocktail or anything like that. But let's say you brought 3 or 4 tops. I'm talking to the ladies right now. 3 or 4 tops. And one of them is like really the nicest one. Now maybe you save that for that night. Or, you brought an extra pretty scarf or a necklace that you really love. You save that for that night. I mean, so that's what it is. It's not, this is not black tie. This is not full length gown. This isn't even cocktail dress. Okay?
I mean, if you want it to be, if you want to get dressed up, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. If you want to put a tie and tails on, go right ahead.
Right. Yeah, no, it's as lovely and comfortable, but we are going to a fine dining restaurant. So how you would dress to go out to a nice restaurant wherever you live, that's a good key for that. Any other questions? Oh, just so you know, the cabins are small on a river cruise because rivers are small and ships are small. So cabins are smaller, but AMA has them amazingly well designed. So there's a lot of storage space and everything else, but your suitcase is under the bed. That's the only, because if you leave your suitcase out somewhere, you're just not going to have much room in your cabin. Also, everybody has an Apple computer in their room. So it's also your TV, it's your computer. AMA spends a lot of money on Wi-Fi. They probably have the best Wi-Fi on the rivers, but still it's on a river. And so it's not always perfect, but it's really the best. So you should have great Wi-Fi. When you go on tours, they have these little things. If some of you may have had them before, they call them the whisper boxes or whatever, but it's a kind of thing. And you have your own headset. So you always have the same headset all the time. And then you have your little box that you plug in at night. So it's charged up. But the thing that's really wonderful about it is you can go quite a distance from your tour guide and still hear them. I'm really bad about wandering off to take pictures. So I can be far away, but I can still hear the voice and I can find my way back. So you don't have to feel like if you're not standing next to the tour guide, you're not going to hear what they're saying. Or if you want to go take a picture of something, or you saw something in a store window or whatever, or there's a beautiful rose in that place, and you're going to be able to hear your tour guide and catch up with them. So that's really nice. And you'll always have your box with you and you don't have to worry. You're the only one using that headset. So you don't have to worry that, it's been somebody else touched it or whatever. So it's all good.
I have a question
people?
about power.
I'm sorry, somebody said how many what?
How many people will be on these various tours?
It depends on how many people sign up, but we keep them into smaller groups. Obviously, let's just say, for example, every single person on the ship wants to go on the exact same tour. Well, we're not going to have 70 people with one tour guide. So we'll break them up into smaller groups, anywhere from like 10 to 20, if that.
Oh, that's the question. Thank you.
Yep, there you go.
Rosie,
Are the outlets in the room 10, so we can use them with just an adapter, not a transformer for?
you don't need transformers. They have both. Some of the ships, I think it's probably on the, they have both. They have AC and then the European. For the European, you need the adapter. Okay, spoiler alert, I'm giving each of you an adapter. You'll have it in your package when you arrive at the hotel. So you'll have one adapter from me. So whatever else is there, Alma usually has one in the room. Just so some people don't realize that if you have any electronic device, your phone, your laptop, your iPad, whatever, you don't need a transformer. Those are like built into the device. All you need is the plug. You know, and electronic companies decided a long time ago that it wasn't worth making different things for different places. So whatever your computer, your iPad, your phone, your camera, all you need is the adapter. You don't need any transformers.
And then there's also in the vanity. So when you go up to the desk where the computer and TV is, and then you've got the mirror right there, there's a strip adapter along the bottom there that has all the European plugs. There is an American 110 outlet there. So you can have your regular old plug for your laptop or your iPad, whatever you want. So that'll be there. But the rest of the plugs throughout the room will be the standard European that'll need the adapter.
Do some of them have where you can put the USB in?
I got to double check on the Prima, but so on most of our ships next to the nightstand, we do have USB plugs on the actual outlets themselves. So you can just use your USB
so if you
plug.
have that, you can use your USB plug and it avoids the adapter problem.
So we could probably only expect like 2 USBs in each room.
I'll have to double check on that one because on the Prima, I'm not 100% certain. So,
but there's plenty of outlets, Paula.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there'll be plenty of, I carry a lot of them. So, you know, if you run out, you can knock on my cabin. I probably have an extra, but there's always tons of them floating around.
We can use.
And then I did see a question in the comments here. Do we have to get tested right before we get onto the ship or at any time during the cruise? And the answer is no, you do not have to, because obviously the Netherlands doesn't require testing to get in. So we follow the guidelines and the rules of the country. So you do not need a test aboard the ship. If you are coming in from a different country that requires you to get tested to get in, that's a different story, but you still won't have to do it to get on board the ship. And then when we're sailing, you're fine because we're not crossing too many country borders that require anything. So we're good.
Just to clarify, the 2 days that we're in Amsterdam at the hotel, the only meal that's included is breakfast. So, I mean, obviously at Floriade, there's going to be so many wonderful different food opportunities to try. So obviously you're going to want to experiment with some of that. Dinner on the 29th and the 30th is on your own in Amsterdam. On the 31st, we'll be arriving at the ship. So we will have dinner on the ship on the 31st.
And it's a full breakfast, mind you, not one of those little dinky.
Yeah, no, they're really good.
Yeah, here's your muffin and your banana. Get lost. Like, no, it's the real thing.
Right.
I said had the big cheese thing.
Yeah. Why don't we?
Any more questions?
You
know,
did a really
obviously,
good
if you
job,
think of something after this is over, you know how to find Linda and I. Also, I'm recording this.
Andy.
So if anybody, you know, says they want the recording, I can send you the link for the recording and you can go back through the cruise thing. But, you know, we're here, you know, if you have any questions, we'll be sending you more updated information. But I think just seeing the process makes it less intimidating and knowing it's not that hard to do. Okay.
Yeah. So
a cat. I know you want a cat, Terry.
we will see you
I
there.
can't wait. I can't wait, Terry. I'm expecting a big hug.
Yeah, all the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, Laura.
What about being able to contact each other? Someone just said, for example, she's arriving early, we're arriving early. We could connect with each other if we want. I'm just wondering, is everybody in agreement to have their email and their phone numbers?
I'm sorry, that's something that we don't do. I mean, afterwards, I'm willing to send out a thing, and there are some people who just don't want to do that, and it gets too complicated. If there's somebody that you know, or if you know somebody specifically, ask me, I can ask them, and I can kind of put you in touch. But putting out a full list to everybody, we just don't do that. We respect people's privacy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, if people agreed on the call.
Yeah,
But
but
okay,
you know, if you put everybody on the spot, if you kind of say, well, everybody, you know, so if there's somebody that you know and you want their contact information, ask me, I will ask them. If they say it's okay, I'm happy to share it with you.
okay, thank
And
you.
you've already done that for us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's working well.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
No, Sandy, it
Yeah.
was fabulous.
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah. I appreciate
Terry and Georgianne and I are celebrating our 20th anniversary from our first trip that we traveled together on this. So
Yeah.
we're good friends. I love them.
Yeah, for sure.
You're celebrating your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that too.
Yeah.
And we're
Good night.
celebrating our anniversary.
But
Sandy.
Sandy
Yeah.
and Linda, I hate to do it, but I do have to get
Oh,
going.
absolutely,
But
Hunter. Thank you so much. Hunter's
it
leaving
was-
on vacation tomorrow. He's ditching us.
I'm ditching it. You're on your own. Good luck.
Send the cat to Terry.
Exactly.
All
And
right,
then-
everybody, unless anybody, any last minute questions or anything?
Are these folding verbs?
Okay.
All right.